So welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Ashley. Today's video, I wanted to kind of do a bit of like a chit chat slash like motivational and a bit of a pep talk to get you started with live selling. If you've been wanting to get into live selling but have been very hesitant to start, because I know it's such a scary thing to get into live selling, this video is for you. I'm hoping by the end of this video you're gonna feel inspired, motivated, either to get started with live selling or make a little bit of a plan, sit down, make a plan of how you're going to execute this. So this video is not going to be a how-to video. It's going to be more of a heart-to-heart little chit-chat and kind of just giving you the pep talk that hopefully will get you to getting started with live selling. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Ashley. I have been live selling for 2.5 years at this point. I started in March of 2023, started on Poshmark, and then it wasn't until earlier this year of 2025, I want to say February, March, I'm not too sure. We're currently in August. When I'm filming this, it's August. I started again fresh on Whatnot, and so I basically feel like I had to go through that new or beginning phases of the live selling journey twice. Once on Poshmark, once on Whatnot. I know the fear that comes with it, so I kind of wanted to just chit chat, give you my numbers in regards to how much I made at the beginning of my first year of live selling. Hopefully that will motivate you, and overall talk about the benefits and why you should do it. Again, consider subscribing. I film a lot of ship with me's, work with me's, and kind of showing you behind the scenes of me running my small business. I am a mom. I'm a stay-at-home mom, have a remote job, I have a 6-year-old, 4-year-old, and I'm currently 14 weeks pregnant. So and I'm trying to run this little side hustle in the corner of a room. So hopefully you'll consider subscribing. But yeah, let's get started. I have my little list here of all the things I wanted to get into, but I know that getting into live selling is a very scary thing. There's just so many things I feel like, or at least for me, when I was getting into live selling, that I felt like could go wrong. Either I say something that's offensive, what if no one shows up, which I feel like that's like the biggest one for everyone. What if I waste my time? What if I waste my money? Because you have to purchase inventory, you know, you gotta put money, how does it? You gotta spend money to make money. There it is. Everyone who's doing live selling started where you started. They started with 0 followers, 0 sales, and they also more than likely had the same figures that you had. It's not such a bad thing to be fearful or to be scared, because that just means you care. I feel like a lot of people probably deal with this is perfectionism. They feel like everything has to be perfect. I need to have the right setup, I need to have the right inventory, I need to have the right thing, you know, outfit. So I totally understand. That's how I personally feel with my like YouTube channel. That's why I feel like I don't post a whole lot as much as I should. I've been there. I know the fear. It's normal. It's natural. We all kind of go through that. It just means that you care and you want this to work out. You just never know the outcome of this. I've seen people who either document their live selling journey, and a lot of them, from what I've seen, is a good majority of them have said that they kind of wish that they had started earlier, because then they probably would have been a little bit further ahead. And that's actually how I felt when I started on Whatnot this year. I was just kind of picturing where my business would have been had I started on Whatnot 2.5 years ago rather than Poshmark. Poshmark is a really, really great platform, but if you're debating between Poshmark, Whatnot, I'm going to tell you right now, Whatnot is where it's at, to be honest. And I can do a whole dedicated video in regards to that, because yeah, everything's great. The shipping, there's a lot more movement over there. Personally, I feel like I can go on a tangent with that, but here's the thing, you're never gonna feel ready to start. Everything could be just a little bit more perfect. Like for me, for example, this is kind of the same setup that I've had since the beginning when I started. I'll probably put a little clip in here of like my first few shows. And I had a $10 rack from Walmart, nothing special, nothing fancy. I didn't even have my neon sign. It wasn't until I think later that year, or maybe the following year, that I got the neon sign. The rack, I invested in it. It's not nothing fancy. Everything I got it off of Amazon. I'll put link down below. They are affiliate links, so I do make a small commission if you do use them. So if you do, thank you so much. But nothing special, nothing fancy. Don't get me wrong, I would love to be able to have so many plans that I initially thought I was gonna do this year, but plans change, and that's fine. So we're just gonna have to kind of push that for maybe next year or in the future, near future, hopefully. But basically what I'm trying to get at is you're never gonna be ready to start. You know, you don't need the latest phone. You don't need an iPad. I've seen people where they're like, well, I need to invest in an iPad because they saw some other live sellers working off an iPad. They saw some live sellers with a ring light. You don't need a ring light. You could actually purchase a ring light from Best Buy or Walmart for like, I think it's like, no, maybe not $10, like 20 bucks maybe. It's like very little, but you can start off with that and eventually make the investment in the future once you realize, hey, you know what, I actually do like doing this. Or, you know, hey, I have made some money off of this. I can put a little bit towards, you know, upgrading all of my equipment. But just know that you don't need anything fancy. You just need the clothes yourself. If you have been selling on Poshmark, regular listings, and you pretty much have everything that you need. You have your phone, you have a way to print out the shipping labels. You don't even need a rack for clothes. I've seen people where they just pull items from boxes, show the item, run it, and then that's it. And then they just kind of make sure they're keeping track of it. So you don't really need much in regards to start. I feel like a lot of people tend to use that excuse because it's just easier. One thing that I'm kind of dealing with, and I don't know if I've mentioned already, but right now it has been a month since I've done a live show, and that has mostly to do because I feel like it's a few things, but basically I'm 14 weeks pregnant, so my first trimester I had little to no energy, and I completely cut out energy drinks. So for those that know, I love my energy drinks. So cutting that out, my extra energy that I had would always go to this. Now it's just like non-existent. The kids are out of school, and my husband's actually, he just started medical school, I want to say like 3 weeks ago, month ago actually. So I feel like there's many excuses. So it's me just going back to my comfort zone. It's so easy to be like, I'll start next week or I'll start next month. It is so easy to just fall back into that comfort of just, we'll get it done later. But the best time to start is now, and I truly do really mean that. That's actually something that I'm getting over, this little slump that I'm in right now. So make a plan and be realistic with yourself. If you know that you have a very hectic, busy schedule, do not be scheduling out one show every day and you're gonna do 5 shows a week, 7 shows a week. Like, if you know that that's not realistic, don't do it, because then you are setting yourself up for failure, which I would rather you schedule out 1 to maybe 2 shows and try it out, see how it goes. Make realistic goals that you know that you can achieve. Because if you start setting all of these like crazy goals, you're gonna let yourself down. When you are setting these goals, I need you to set them to where it's based off of your energy and effort, not so much other people. So what I mean about that is, when you're setting goals, I need you to set, okay, this week I'm gonna go live Monday, Thursday. Okay, cool. That's something that I can control, I can do. But one thing that I cannot do is I cannot control people purchasing from me. So I'm not gonna set $100 goal when I don't know who's gonna show up or what's gonna happen. So I would rather you set a goal of, hey, as long as I have a show this day, and I'm on for 2 hours at a time, okay, cool, check mark, you did it. But if you start setting goals of, well, I need to make this amount or X amount, when you know you have not done any shows, you know you don't have that customer base, you're gonna end up letting yourself down. So again, make goals that you know yourself you can achieve, but because you put in the effort and not other people, relying on other people. And here's something that I always tell anyone who tells me that they are either getting into live selling or they just started. Please, please, please do not give up within the first 6 months, okay? Typically people give up within the second or third month, don't. 6 months. Give this 6 months of your time and be consistent. And what I mean with being consistent is you need to show up. If you're going to be consistent, pick a specific time frame. So let's say you're going to be doing, let's say you work and you can only show up from 3 to 4 or 3 to 5 or 7 to 9 p.m. Whatever that time looks for you, stick to that and do that a certain amount of, you know, be consistent basically. So Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays from 3 to 7 or 7 to 9, and keep that up, and people will know, hey, she's always on Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 7 to 9. Okay, cool. So they now know when to show up because you're gonna show up, and that's your schedule. So do that. You can also create that little listing. This is specifically for Poshmark, but on Poshmark you could create that little listing, notification listing, and there in the description you can put, hey, my shows are every this day from this time to this time, like this, so you can be notified. And people will now know when you're going to show up, so that way they can show up. Because if they don't know when you're going to show up, I feel like Poshmark's not really great at notifying people of when certain people go live. That's why you always see that little notification listing that they create themselves, because that's how they get to notify their customers, like, hey, I'm on. So again, be consistent. Consistency looks different for everyone, so that could mean every Saturday. It could mean every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It could mean every Tuesday, Thursday. So you decide what that looks for you. And another thing, don't burn yourself out, because this, for some individuals, live selling looks so easy. It looks so easy. They make it look like the easiest thing ever, and like they're having fun and everything. So I know it can come across as such an easy job or such an easy thing to do, but it is draining. It is. It truly is, especially if you're an introvert. I'm an introvert. I know it doesn't seem like I am because I film and I do YouTube and I do my live selling, and I'm very talkative on my live selling. I tend to overshare. It can be an exhausting thing. It really truly can. Make sure that you can keep up with the schedule that you set. And here's the thing, with live selling, you're gonna have to go through those growing pains. That's what I call them, the growing pains. And that's why I personally did not want to start on Whatnot. If you hear my kiddos, I'm sorry. I have the little baby monitor here and I'm watching them. I'm trying to do this mommy thing, YouTube thing at the same time. So made the change of going to Whatnot October, when Poshmark did their change of how much they're paying their sellers, of like, I think it was from 20% to 10%. I saw how much I was able to keep after that extra, and that's when I was like, okay, I need to make the move to Whatnot. Also, I do have a video. I'll link it down below or at the end. But basically, I kind of explained there also why I made the transition to Whatnot. It just started getting very slow for me on Poshmark, and so I was like, I have to make the move if I still want to continue doing this, and I did, and thankfully it worked out. It really truly did. But I went through those growing pains twice, on Poshmark and Whatnot. And if you go to my live selling section on YouTube, because YouTube, you have your videos, your shorts, and then the live section. I've been broadcasting, I think a majority of my live shows from Whatnot on YouTube. So if you scroll down to the bottom of my live selling, you can see the beginning, my first couple of shows on Whatnot, where I showed up and no one showed up. So just know that everyone goes through it. Go to my live section, scroll all the way to the bottom, go to my first live shows, and you will see that I showed up and I was on for an hour to 2 hours, just standing there doing nothing, or trying to make it seem like I'm doing something. And I decided to leave those there because I wanted people to, especially my viewers, people who are subscribed to my channel, watch my content, to know that I had to go through that, and that it's normal to go through that. And you're gonna show up, there's gonna be times where you're gonna show up and then no one's gonna show up. And that was it for me. I showed up to Whatnot many times. If you scroll down to the bottom of my live shows, you can start watching each live show and you'll see with time the live selling getting better. And it's just something that you have to go through, and that's why I say growing pains, because they're not fun, because you show up, no one shows up. I'm sorry, it sucks. It really sucks to show up when no one shows up. It just is what it is. But here's the thing, everyone's timeline is different. So for example, for me, I feel like for me it took maybe, honestly I don't even know, maybe a month or two for my shows to kind of get to where I liked them. But for the most part, you never know. For yourself, it might just be faster. It might take a little bit longer. That's why I say 6 months is a good little time frame. And here's the thing, people want to shop with people. They don't want to shop with these like companies, and that's why a lot of people enjoy live selling, because you get to learn and know about the individual. I've been able to grow such an amazing community. Like, these ladies, they are amazing. They're the sweetest. I just feel like I made so many great friends in this whole process. For example, I got married in December, and you know, I told them about the wedding. So leading up to the wedding, I was showing them pictures of my dress on live. I was telling them about the plans, and then I had to reschedule my wedding till the following year. So long story short, you get to really know the person and you get to form this connection. And now that I'm pregnant, I'm telling them that I'm pregnant, and they're just congratulating me. They're just like the sweetest, loveliest people. And truly, the community that you're gonna grow is just, it's gonna be so awesome, and you're gonna be so thankful and so grateful that you did start. People want to shop with people, but also it's gonna take time for your people to find you. Not everyone's gonna vibe with you, and that's fine. You don't need everyone to be your customer. That's the thing. Specific people vibe with me, other people don't vibe with me. They think I'm too loud, energetic, I'm too boring at times. So that's fine. I don't need to be for everyone. I have my customers. I have the people who like to shop with me. I did want to get into how much I made in my first year of live selling. I hope that will motivate you. If nothing else has motivated you up until this part, I hope the fact that I made this specific amount my first year of live selling will motivate you. One thing that I wanted to get into before that is, when you're doing this, my biggest thing is not to put yourself in the box, because that's something I'm currently dealing with. You may not know, you don't watch my content, but I am mostly a plus size live seller. So I sell plus size curvy girl clothing. So 1, 2, 3X is mostly what I focus on, boutique pieces. And I feel like doing that was great because I felt like I went a little bit faster in regards to growing, but I put myself in this box. And I've already tried expanding out of that box, meaning I tried selling small, medium, large, and it has not worked for me. I have tried twice. I have purchased, I think at this point, like 200 pieces of small, medium, large inventory, and I have not been able to sell through it. I still have a majority of that closed. But because I have I put myself in this box of just being, you know, a plus size curvy seller. So now I'm gonna try again for the third time. So third time's the charm. I'm gonna try again to get out of this box that I put myself in. So my recommendation is to not put yourself in the box. If you want to put yourself in a box, put yourself in the women's contemporary clothing box. That's a pretty big box that I feel like you could do everything. I mean, there's also men's, don't get me wrong, there's baby, children, jewelry, shoes, but in regards to like women, I feel like there's a lot more people buying women's categories. So yeah, so don't put yourself in a box. Also, if you're going to be starting, do not get into buying palettes. I know it's so tempting and so exciting buying a palette. I have yet to purchase a palette. I have not purchased a palette yet. Hopefully maybe sometime this year, I'm not too sure. Do not get into purchasing palettes, because for all you know, you start, you invest, because palettes do take a couple of thousands of dollars. They take a couple of thousands of dollars, but not only that, the space. You need to have the space. That's like the biggest thing for me. I currently don't have the space, time and energy. And here's the thing, if you start off doing live selling and then you purchase a palette and then you realize, hey, I actually really don't like this, it's too much. Yeah, it's not the best approach. I feel like everyone who has done live selling, I hear the same story with all of us. Everyone started selling their own clothes. If not their own clothes, then they went to the thrift stores or to the bins, Goodwill bins, and buying clothes by the pound. So start that way. And I genuinely wish that I had kept that side of my business, the thrifted aspect, because your cost of goods is very low. Yes, you might have to put in the labor or work of, you know, washing it, steaming, doing all that, but your cost of goods is a lot lower in comparison to boutique, which is what I do. I pay like 3 to 4 times what I would have paid at thrift stores. So you gotta take that also. Also, I feel like thrifting wise, there's just so many locations, at least near me. But there's also liquidation companies. There's also, I know there's some companies who do like wholesale boxes. So there's just so many ways to go about this. But my biggest thing is start with thrifted items, because you yourself get to go to the thrift store. You get to see the items, you get to choose the brands, the styles. The last thing you want is purchasing a palette and then you not knowing what's in there, because some of them are manifested, meaning they give you a list of what you're gonna get, but others are unmanifested, meaning you don't know. It's a mystery aspect. For example, I recently purchased a 20-piece wholesale order. It was $100 for 20, well, actually less than $100 for 20 pieces. Savage Fenty. I actually talked about it in one of my last ship with me. Long story short, the pieces, no bueno, no bueno. I honestly would have preferred using those $100 to go thrifting to get into the regular listing, because I'm trying to get back into listing regular inventory. I have this whole plan that I want to do. Anyways, whatever. But I would have rather used that money doing that instead of the 20 pieces that I got, because when I tell you these pieces are the most funkiest, I don't know who's gonna buy them. They clearly, and the thing is with liquidation, these companies, they try to sell them themselves, but because they don't get to sell them, they need to get rid of them, so they liquidate them, sell them to people like us at a cost, to hopefully make some money back, so that way they can continue reinvesting and keep, you know, investing that money. Those items did not sell for some reason. Maybe it was overstock, which just means they made one too many of them, but for the most part, these pieces that I got, no. So long story short, now I'm stuck with those 20 pieces. And I don't think I'm gonna even be able to get my money back, which was like less than $5 a piece. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm stuck with 20 pieces and I don't wanna donate them because I wanna at least break even with them. But you know, that's just what the whole mystery aspect of mystery boxes is. Also, another thing I wanted to kind of get into is that live selling is a bit of a roller coaster. You could have an amazing show, let's say Monday, and you make $800. Okay, cool, great, you make $800. Okay, and then you have a show Tuesday and then you make $200. So it's just literally like this. Like it all depends on different things, but basically it's a bit of a roller coaster. Some shows you're going to do great, and then some shows you're going to do bad. It's just going to be like this. You really truly don't know how, or maybe you will. Personally, for me, maybe it's because I have just recently transitioned to Whatnot. So right now I'm kind of I'm trying to learn what my customers like and everything, but I think with time you'll start learning what your customers like. So overall it'll get easier, but it'll still be a roller coaster, because when I first started doing live shows, it was a roller coaster. So I would make $80 and then $100 and then $60 and then $150. But then as you're being consistent, it's just gonna get better. So then you're gonna make more, but it's still gonna be like that. So then you'll make $400 and then $800 and then $300 and then $1,200. So it's just a bit of a roller coaster. So that's normal. It's okay to start small. Maybe you can schedule out a show next week and pre-select 20 to 25 to 30 pieces. You don't have to be like some of these like me. You don't have to be like me. If you could see over here, let me just show you actually really quickly. There you go. Do you see all of that? Yeah, all of that right there. So you don't need that much inventory, okay? Start off with 20 to 30 pieces that you genuinely like, various sizes. Try to get, you know, sizes small through 3X, 4X. You can start small, you don't need anything crazy. Just 20 pieces, 30 pieces, and figure out what your price point is going to be. Try to figure out what kind of seller you want to be. You don't want to be doing $3 shows when you're just starting out, because $3 shows on Poshmark, you're only going to make 5 cents per one item. $3 on Whatnot, I'm not too sure, but I'll put the number in here. Try to stick with a price point that you feel okay. I feel like when I first started doing live selling with thrifted items, my price points were $8 to $12. That was kind of where I hovered between $8 and $12, but kind of stick to that. And once you kind of stick to your price points, your customers are going to get used to it. They're going to know that that's what you charge, and if they like your items, your price point, your vibe, everything, then they'll come back. And if not, then that's just fine, because here's what actually I feel like I've noticed is that people who purchase your $3, that's not to say that's everyone. I'm not trying to put people in boxes, but like I've had people who have purchased items for $3, $5, and they make the loudest noise. They make the item was this, the item was that, da, 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 even though I feel I disclosed everything within the live show. So just know that you're going to attract a specific kind of customer. I don't want that to come across wrong, but you're going to attract a specific type of customer. Look at how much you're paying look, don't forget Poshmark takes 20%, so factor that into it. And then see how much you are happy with, because you also don't want to become resentful. That's actually, I feel like, one thing that happened to me as I started getting in more into boutique. I started kind of getting, I don't know if resentful is the right word, but just I wanted to make more and I was unhappy. So, you know, price it at a point where you know people are willing to pay, but also where you would be happy. Okay, so now let's get into how much I made with my first year of live selling. Now, I've been selling on Poshmark since 2019, but honestly, 2019, I didn't make much, and I don't think live selling was a thing. So again, I did not start live selling until 2023. I've been on Poshmark since 2019, but I have made little to nothing from 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. 2023 is truly where you can kind of see a bit of a pivot in my, and actually, you know what, I'll put a picture where you can kind of see the difference between, you know, those first 4 years and 2023. But 2019, of just like listing regular items, I just wasn't taking it serious, to be honest. That whole year I only made $1,600. 2020, 707. 2021, we're just going downhill, 178. 2022, $90. And then 2023 is when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get into live selling. Which, you know, the funniest thing out of all of this is that when I first got back into Poshmark, because I remember it was, I want to say October, November of 2022, I had gotten a notification that something had sold. And I was like, oh, cool, I made like 20 bucks. So I was just like, okay, cool. I think it sold for like $25, so I made 20 bucks. So I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, let me go see if I still have this item. Let me ship it out. And then I kind of started messing with the app, and then I was like, you know what? Let me get into these like videos or like live selling. Like, what is this? So then I jumped into a few live shows. Instantly, I was like, oh no, I will never do this. You will never catch me. I literally, that's the thought that crossed my mind. I was like, I will never do this. Because I jumped into a few shows and they just looked like they were having a horrible time. So I literally said I would never do live selling. And then I started watching a few other shows, and I started watching people who genuinely looked like they were having a good time and they were making a good amount of money. And I was like, well, it doesn't seem that hard. I feel like I could genuinely do this. So it wasn't until let's just say October, November, December, January, February, like 4 to 5 months of me just kind of watching other people doing shows, that I finally decided, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna try it out. I cannot remember how those first few shows went. I feel like my mind completely just block that time out. Overall, it started getting better with time. Again, I started with thrifted items, and I didn't have a whole lot of time back then to go thrifting, and at that point I had access to buying boutique wholesale, but I didn't want to buy boutique wholesale because I didn't want to make that huge investment. For the first like 3 to 6 months, maybe 3 to 4 months, I was doing mostly thrifted pieces. So I would go to the Goodwill, I would purchase a whole bunch, and then I would come home, steam it, wash it if it needs washing, hang them up, and then have a show that evening. And I was only able to go to the thrift store twice a week. Basically, if you want to make it happen, you will make it happen. But my first year of just doing live selling, this is basically from March to the end of the year, and this is a combination of thrifted. This is also a combination of items selling regular, so like regular listings, you know, people purchasing items directly from my closet, so not so much live shows. But I'd say that 97% of the money that I made that year all came from live selling. I wasn't really putting much effort into listing regular items. If I would list, I was listing because of my live selling or my live shows. My first year of live selling, I made $33,104, which of course Poshmark takes 20%. They kept $6,620 from that. So then from that I kept $26,483. So overall, I think that's a great amount for a little side hustle in the corner of my room here. But yeah, those are pretty much all of the tips and advice that I kind of wanted to talk about. If I happen to think of any other things that I feel like I kind of missed, I'll make sure to put it down in the description, or maybe make a part 2, but I pretty much feel like I went through everything that I wanted to get through. But I know it can be a little bit intimidating, but you can definitely do it if you make a plan and you kind of go through it. Again, give it 6 months time frame. Anything less than 3 months, I feel like you're not giving it enough time for it. Because again, I feel like everyone's different. It might be faster, it might be slower. So I feel like 6 months is like a good window of time to give this. But hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Let me know if you are planning on doing your first live show and when, and let me know so that way I can show up and cheer you on. But that's pretty much it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.